Which also, I would like to say, we're already getting like over 40 people watching. Don't know who you are. Like we just said, I don't know 40 people. So
Yeah, I know like 20.
I know like the 3 that listen pretty constant, but everybody else, hey,
Yeah.
don't know you, but thanks.
Oh, that guy's full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
that guy's me.
Yeah.
Here we are. I think the first thing.
I don't know why my instinct was to say howdy.
I mean,
was like-
look what you're wearing.
I don't think this is very southerny.
What are you in 1883? Riding your horse?
Okay, sure, I could see that maybe. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Okay, you got me.
First thing is we are on Spotify. So if you want to watch or listen to this without having to watch, click the lock.
If you don't want to see our ugly faces and
Yeah.
you just want to hear our soothing voices.
Oh, that's gross. Makes me want to puke. Yeah, you can go to Spotify and listen. I think it were like Apple Music or whatever it is, Apple Podcasts.
Basically, whatever
Amazon.
normal places you listen to podcasts, if it's not on a weird app or website,
Yeah.
it's probably on there.
Yeah, that way you don't have to. You can just put it in your ears to go for a run or whatever it is.
It's weird how there's certain podcasts that I will listen to and certain ones that I will never listen. Like it would be so random to listen to for me. I
know.
have to watch them.
Yeah, there's some that I like watching better. I would never just listen.
No, Mind Pump I'll listen to. Huberman I'll listen to.
Yeah. Well, it's usually those ones, like the informational
ones, yeah.
where the visual isn't really doing that much, but it's like the comedy ones that we watch.
Yeah.
You're going to want to watch them just because it's...
The reactions too, and
Yeah.
like how animated that they are.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Even though they're also they also have a talent for making their voice animated and fun and exciting.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be the same, I don't think.
I used to listen to Crystalia's Just Listening because I would do it like on the way to work.
Yeah.
And there'd be some things where I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like you can't see any of his just like pauses. So it's just like silences.
Well, and so many of them put so much into the video too. And like the production part of it. That's like, it would be, it's more than just the conversation, I guess.
Sure. Ooh,
That-
it's so deep.
Ooh,
More than just the conversation.
yikes. I'm hitting on all levels today. Do you have things that you want to talk about? I'm trying this little pen and paper idea here.
I know. I do tend to like to write things down, but I think with this, because we're going to do so many of them, I also want to be able to kind of like scratch them off once we've already talked about them. So yes, I do have, and to be able to look things up, because what I'm wanting to talk about, one of them today, I need to have it on my computer to look at it. Okay, so I think we could start with, I've been listening to Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
Actually quite a bit on different
Yeah, I like
podcasts. And I just listened to him on Theo's, which also is like, why
Theo
would
gets
you
such
even
cool people.
well, it's just like we're talking about like stoicism, and then there's Theo. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you relate to this at all? How are you able to have any input or even questions about it? It's like when he interviewed what was that other guy that he interviewed? Like a famous, it's going to be...
Oh, yeah, Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, such an obvious name. Why could I not think of that?
Yeah.
It's like, what would you possibly have anything to talk about?
That's why I just
with
don't...
him?
Like, he's just so nice, and I think
Sure.
probably so easy to talk to. That's why he gets a bunch of these people. But it's like, yeah, how are you getting Ryan Holiday, Malcolm Gladwell,
Mm-hmm.
RFK Jr.? Like, how are you getting all of these people and these, like, intellectuals that... You would think that those people wouldn't want to sit down and talk to him,
Yeah.
which is maybe rude to say. I don't know, but I guess I don't mean it to be rude. But it's like they're always amazing podcasts because it's like Theo's just so good at conversation and talking to anybody that it's like he's, I don't know. I think he's so not insecure about anything
Sure.
that it's like anybody can talk to him. And I wonder if those people watch and listen to his podcast and they're like, oh, I'm not going to go on and like get attacked, or I'm not going to go on and I don't know, just rambling. But
So since
It's
we're
so cool.
both kind of in this era right now and kind of like into that, I think it'd be fun for the next few episodes to just maybe bring up one of his meditations and then discuss.
Yeah.
And we can do a few of them because I feel like they're short. And what...
And meditations, you mean like the...
his famous quotes from his
Marcus Aurelius.
book. Yes.
Not Ryan Holiday.
Correct. Yes. That's just like typically his conversations are about Marcus Aurelius. Like that's like his end all be all person.
Yeah.
Okay. I have two right off the bat that I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
One of them, and I think this is kind of a hot topic in this household sometimes. Okay. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. My takeaway of that is a lot of what is going on now. And I feel like most people say like in society now, it's like this has probably happened
Everything's already
over
happened.
and over and over again, but it's, we're seeing it in different perspectives of creating your own idea on things and also diving deeper into the truth of things. And to me, that's also like questioning yourself on your own beliefs and kind of trying to be able to evolve. You can't evolve unless you are trying to adapt and change and better yourself. That I think nowadays we're finding just ways to be safer and simpler and more comfortable, that we're allowing that new reality to be like, this is good. This is healthy. This is something that we should be thinking about or doing, when it's like, there's no facts based on that, or there's no like proof to back that up.
Yeah. Well, and I think like it's like what you kind of started by saying, like we always say this about society. It seems like, it's like our parents, their parents are always like, things are changing. The world's changing. It's just different now. And I think in a lot of ways it is, but it's just new faces to the same problems kind of thing. And I think as a society more and more now, I think we're uncovering different challenges and different truths. Like there hasn't been so much emphasis on knowing the truth, and everybody has this like burning desire to know it now. And I think what's interesting about it is, as soon as you think it is true, something changes and shows you a different perspective of it, and things are different now. And then you have these people that they just can't not change their mind about things. They can't be fluid with the way that they think. That's like, once they get comfortable with a train of thought, they just stay right there and they can't break outside of that. And I think that's the, like going off of that quote, I think something to add to it is just, you have to be able to be fluid with those things too. Because even the quote is kind of funny, of talking about how like everything is an opinion and whatever. And the way that it's spoken is in factual form.
Yeah.
That's like, well, that's just this guy's opinion then. That, I don't know, it's there's so many interesting layers to it of like, that's why I love these quotes, because they apply to pretty much everything. And this one especially is very broad, that I think if you can think of people and the conversations that you're having with people, and try to have this quote kind of in the back of your mind, like, oh, these are just their opinions. These are just their perspectives. They've seen different things than I have, or maybe they've seen the same thing, but have a different perspective of it. And it's just so hard not to be so insulted by it. Or when you think something is so factual and so true, that is the thing to look at even more in yourself, which I think is kind of going off of what you were saying of like, you need to really look into why you think that way so much. Mm-hmm. Because it's very weird to be so sure about something. Like it's so weird. And I think it's just, I think why people do it is there's a comfortability in it. They don't have to think about it anymore because they know where they stand. to where I think the real, I don't know, my opinion is the healthy area is kind of somewhere in the middle, is being a little bit fluid, or it's being a little bit like, yeah, I believe in this, but I also know I can be proven wrong or shown a different perspective of this, and maybe everything I know about it crumbles, or there's a little bit of a, you know, a break in the structure with it of like, I believe in this still, but I can see where there's a weak point, and now I need to find a way to shore up that weak point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like the questioning yourself, because some of the things I think that we think about, or that we're so sure on, or that we have an opinion on, or like we live our life based off of our thought process on that, it could be true, or it could have been true for a different version of ourselves.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Keep updating of like, okay, I do think that, but is that, you know, meant for an old version of me that no longer needs to be around, or that's no longer even true for myself? Like, I actually don't believe in that anymore. That it's just a good accountability check-in, I think.
Well, and you continue to grow up and have experiences and learn different things, and then those things start to, your perspective of stuff starts to change, and your opinions start to change. And I think those are the obvious things, but some people won't change on those things. They won't change their ideas about it because there's, you know, whether something hurt them, or they have an insecurity about something, or whatever. They just, or were told by somebody that they, you know, really respect, and it's like, well, if they said it, it has to be true, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You start to get more experience and maturity, and it's like you have to analyze it. I think that's something that we're just so big on, is just why are we thinking the way that we think? You know, it's like even this morning and today, we're both just kind of like, something doesn't seem right, and we just talk and talk and talk and try to figure it out, and try to figure out where it's coming from and what's going on, and dissecting every little part of it. It's like, I'm not feeling inspired to work out. Why is that? Why can't I do it? I'm still going and doing it because I know that's what I should be doing. But it's like, how can I figure out how to make this work? And it's like, it's funny the different paths you go down, because you start to find like, oh, it has nothing to do with working out. Like, I'm just not inspired by just things.
Life
Yeah.
in general right now.
It's like, well, I'm just like, I have this like inspiration to do something, and I want to create something and build something. But I think because it's not being channeled into something, it's affecting other things now, to where now I don't really want to go work out. I don't really want to go for a morning walk. I don't really want to go for an afternoon walk. I don't want to do any of these things because I'm fueled with this like inspiration to do something, but it's none of those things, and those aren't fulfilling it. And it's like, I think we go right to the thing of, well, I'm not inspired to work out, so I need to change my workout program. I need to, you know, do this, do that. Maybe I need it this way or at this time. And it's like, actually, it has nothing to do with that. Like, I need to take this inspiration and channel it somewhere else, and then it'll have this kind of radiation effect and maybe go into these other things. And I think even just with the conversation that we had today about it, like, I'm already feeling better, and I'm already wanting to go work out and go exercise, and like just having a different intention about the exercises now, or the workouts of like, oh yeah, I'm getting my cup filled over here now like this can be settled, and like we can go at it again. It's like something a little bit is wrong, and until you kind of fix that, I think everything else starts to be weird, and then it'll go away once you find whatever that is.
And I think even coming from a positive, it even doesn't have to be something like, oh, this is going wrong, I need to analyze it, or this is something that's talked a lot about in society, do I believe that or not? It could be from positive things too. Like we've been discussing school, like the school system a lot lately, and of course, classic us fashion of, do we have kids? No. Are we so many years away from our kids being in school? Yeah. But are we discussing the education system and what we like to do and
we're
whatever?
Just so stupid and annoying that way. Like, we will just, when we just talk about everything, we have to find something to talk about. It's like, even if we don't have the situation where like, So
but what would you do in this situation?
What would you do? So what about this? And then it's a freaking 4-day conversation about it.
Well, I think because it's kind of weird how it's kind of all meshing together, but I'm really diving into a new podcast that I'm listening to is about child development, and this one teacher is bringing on a bunch of different specialists and teachers and doctors and kind of breaking down common situations in like younger, like ages maybe 2 to 5, education and development and stuff. And
what's her name? What's the podcast? Do you know?
The podcast, and I can put it, note it for myself. I will put it down below in the description. I think it's called Not Always Cute or Not So Cute. Yeah, can you write that down? Not So Cute. It has I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't have like a very cool looking
Slam.
Like cover page. Like it wouldn't be something I would click on, but
those are the people that I love. Those, it's like your content.
It's no fluff.
Your content is your information is the important part.
Right.
It's like that's where all the focus is.
Right. And she had the one that I just recently listened to. She had a doctor on it. They talked about how, in younger ages, like we're not meant to just sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. Like she's like, we didn't have an excuse before because we didn't have the information. We didn't have the data to back up that this isn't necessarily how kids learn the best. But she's like, we have no excuse. Like we know the information now. We have the research. We have done so much research to back this up that like kids need to be moving. She's like, you need to take a mental break like every 10 minutes. It's like, especially with the younger kids. She was like, and she was laughing while she was saying this. She's like, kids are literally falling out of their chairs because they don't have the physical and muscular strength to like sit at
it was like the proprioception, I think was what she was saying.
They have like no awareness of their space around them and how to like move, like because your proprioception is like your awareness of space. That they're just like falling out of their chairs because they don't know how to move. They don't know how to be active. Because they're not learning how to. They don't build their motor skills as well as they used to.
Yeah.
And she was saying, like, kids know how to swipe on an iPad, but they don't have the strength and the awareness to rip a piece of paper. Yeah, she's like, she's been in the school system, I think, for like 45 or 50 years. But then during that time, she kind of transitioned into, more of the brain chemistry around it. And she's like, it's such a dramatic shift that we're seeing. And the things that we're seeing are just like, these kids are getting so weak. And like, they're not getting smarter either. Like it's not like they're developing trade-off over here, so then it makes up for over here. It's like it's just a decline all around. So just learning about that, and then we also are both teaching this family of kids that's just like they're the best kids I have ever met or taught. And so then I'm just seeing them and I'm just trying to break down, like it is a family of gonna be 6 kids. And it's just like, how are you guys so well behaved? You're so smart. Like they're so, I don't know. Like I said, I have never met kids like this. And to think like, oh, there's 6 of you. Like, how are your parents managing all of you? And you're all turning out to be really awesome kids. And they're homeschooled also. So it's just kind of diving deeper into like, why are you so awesome? And it could have nothing to do with that. But again, like I say, the analyze. This is something that's interesting. This is something that I think is going positively. Let me try to break that down. Let me try to understand what's going on here, because now I want to know how do I think about it? What are my opinions? And being able to use that for my own, decision making down the line or whatever. But
and I think, with them, like one of the things that we came to is they talk about all of the different things they're doing, and they're just so active, like all the time.
Yes.
That it's like they're the most active kids it seems like we've taught, but they're the most calm in the class. They listen the best. They're the most respectful, well-behaved. And it's like you pair that with the information of like kids falling out of chairs in class because they're not building their proprioception and their motor movements.
And you want to talk about the motor skills for those kids? Like, their awareness of their body is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. So it's like, is there a correlation there of these kids are way more active. They're getting a ton of activity. And they're also the most chill and calm and respectful. It's like, you can draw, is there a correlation? It's like, maybe there's some connection there, and it just makes makes us think about it and talk more about it of like, I think in a lot of ways we underestimate activity and movement and exercise and all that kind of stuff. We think it's just like for our body and health and that sort of thing. But like these kids are so well behaved and calm that it's like, how much of it is just
they're so active throughout the day that it's getting out of the system kind of.
Yeah, they're getting that like antsy, anxious, fidgety stuff out, and they're not irritated all the time and anxious all the time because they're expending a ton of energy like they should be because they're kids, and now they listen. Now they do what they're asked to do, and they're just generally calm, and they don't throw fits. They don't like, they're not disruptive. And it's just like, it's interesting to see that. And then to see like what you're doing, it's like, I wonder if they're just really great kids and anomalies in a way, and just have good parents, or is it something with the homeschool, the ton of activity and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's cool to see, because that family, there's we got to see like the different ages and how each of them are kind of different. Like the youngest is probably 4 or 5. No, she's got to be 3 or 4.
Out of the
youngest one, she's got to be like a fresh 4.
Say there's younger than.
Well, yeah, the baby, but we don't teach him.
Yeah.
I would love it, but I don't think that's down the line.
It's like 2 maybe.
Yeah. So the youngest is 4, and the oldest is probably 7 going on 8. So to kind of see the difference in ages and how they're all very similar and have the same kind of attributes, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. The youngest one, that's the only one that kind of like has a little bit extra energy, but like I said, like it's just when she gets excited, but she still knows how to control it. There's no like, I don't know what to do with this, and then she reacts in a negative way. She's like, she gets really excited and she just like go like this. Like I said yesterday, like she has to hug somebody if she gets really excited, and then it dissipates. She's able to focus, but she just like needs to get that out of her system really fast. But it doesn't disrupt the class. Yeah. Okay.
I think with the opinions and the perspective, I don't know. I'm finding more and more like I agree with that so much, because I'm just shown all the time that there isn't hard truths. And I think that's why I was saying, like, if you're so stubborn about something and the way you think about something, it's like, that's not like, you're just going to get shown in some way that it's not real. Like your belief in it or the truth in it is just not 100%. And that's why I find myself more and more just opinionless and kind of perspectiveless, because it's like, this person will say one thing, the other person says another, and they contradict each other. And it's like, but I can see both people's points. And I think when you separate yourself from your own thoughts, your own ideas sometimes, and you hear somebody else, and it's like, oh yeah, I could see why you would make that decision. It's like, so how is this true then? What I've known before, how is it true? Because in their situation, you would maybe do the same thing, or you see their perspective. And it's just, I find myself more like, I don't have an opinion about it. I have somewhat of an opinion, but it's like, it can easily be swayed or change in a different direction. And I don't know. I feel so much more comfortable in this kind of fluid middle sliding back and forth thing, because I think that's just what life naturally does, rather than picking one hard stance and sticking with it and then like really being crushed when what you've thought and known is discovered to like not be true, and it's hard evidence of it or whatever. And it's like, well, you didn't have to hold on to that belief so much. Like that's not like you. It's not.
And I think areas that we're even pretty certain for our own life on, I think we tend to allow more room for learning. Like, I think like, because I don't want to contradict what we're talking about, but it's like,
but no, that's the conversation.
With like fitness and health and, certain things that we have in our life, we're very true to that and we believe in it, but it's also based off of, because we want to learn more. We want to dive into it. It's not just like, well, I heard this, so I'm going to go with it. It's like, We dive into why do we like it? What are the benefits that we're feeling? Is that real, or does that have some like proof or science to back that up? Or, being also flexible with this worked for us at a certain time and now it's kind of moving on to this, or that this could be totally different for someone else. But in general, we have a belief in that or an idea about that, but it's still open to the evolving, like I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, and I think this kind of goes into one of the things I wanted to talk about was just identity. And we had a brief conversation about it a week ago or so. And just the like kind of picking apart identity and trying to figure out almost like what's the best way to have or to put an identity. Because I think we all kind of naturally, we're picking certain things or we want to have a certain identity. But I think we kind of pick the wrong things. We pick the things that if it goes away,
then you go away, then you don't matter.
Well, it's like we pick things that can go away.
Sure.
You pick something of like, my identity is I'm a lawyer. And it's like, well, once you're not a lawyer, say you retire, it's like, what are you then? And I think people have these big crises because of those situations, retirement or like the midlife crisis or whatever. And
I feel like we have a lot of those stages where we get rid of our old self.
Yeah, but it's like, in my opinion of it, is you're attaching to the wrong things.
Yeah.
You're attaching to things that will go away at some point, rather than the things that like you have control over. It's like, have an identity of like, I'm a really hard worker, because you're in control of that and you can always be that and have that. It's like examples like that, rather than I'm a lawyer or I'm a football player. It's like, there's so many professional athletes that they will retire or they're no longer a player because they're maybe not good enough, and their whole identity is crushed because that's all they've ever thought they are, all they've ever thought their worth is, and now it's gone. It's like, well, you picked wrong things. Like, you should have picked things of like, no, I'm a hard worker, I have integrity, I'm, I just like almost like broad things in a way.
Well, like you said, things that you can take into any situation or most situations.
Yeah.
Like, it's not I'm a thing that is separate of me. It's I'm bringing these things with me.
Yeah.
These are a part of me that I do, that I act upon, not a noun.
Not like, and things that can just be gone and taken from you, or you retire and you move on from it. It's like, you don't ever need to move on from having integrity. Like, that's not something that's put on you or taken away from you. It's like, you have the choice of being that all the time. Where I think people, they're like, oh, I'm a mechanic and that's my identity and that's who I am. I'm a football player and that's who I am. It's like, well, what happens when you're not that anymore? Because that thing can go away. It's like, you need to pick the things or look at yourself and your identity as things that you have control over.
Yeah.
This is the stupid shit we think of and talk about.
And like really think about.
I know. Because it's like, how many people get so destroyed over these types of things? And part of me goes like, that's so weird. Like, why do we do that? Why do we get so destroyed? It's like, it's just something that didn't work out.
Yeah,
but I think it's
a part
identity
of,
thing.
Yeah, because I think we want to assign ourselves.
Yeah.
We want to assign ourselves to a certain group, a certain community, a certain way of life, even that I don't know. I don't know if we assign ourselves because we don't want to feel like we're alone, or if it's because then that eliminates more options, and like it just simplifies things of like, well, if I'm someone that like a category of a person, like I'm someone that likes to, live in cities, and I like to, I'm a hard worker, I'm a businessman, I'm someone that, wants to be like in the 1% doing crazy things. Okay, now you can't think about, well, what kind of maybe parent do I want to be? It's like, that person's not having kids. Okay, get rid of that.
Yeah.
What kind of, person should I be to, in a relationship? It's like, well, that category of person would act like this. So that's already decided for me. It like eliminates all, like a lot of other things that most people should be thinking about because it's just a part of life, to where you go, well, my category of person or my community, they're doing this.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to get like almost, what word am I thinking of?
Well, it's like it almost becomes stereotypical. It's like
That's the word I'm
when
thinking.
I say
Yes.
lawyer, it's like everybody kind of thinks of the same thing.
Right.
And they have a general idea
Yes.
of how that person acts and what they do.
Yes.
And I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's like it gives you
the answers to fill in the blank
Yeah.
of who you should be.
Yeah, you don't have to figure out who you are and be your own person.
Right.
And it's like that's easy, but it's like this shit we talk about all the time. It's like the easy stuff is not going to be the most fulfilling or the happiest. It's like you're going to be happiest when you're figuring out who you are and dissecting those things. So it's like you are a lawyer, but you really love family and
Well,
go ahead.
Then again, going back to then you're not questioning yourself, because then how many times you go, well, okay, this is basically the package of what this kind of person would be. But then if you don't analyze like, oh, but I don't like that, or that doesn't connect with me. But my kinds of people, they do that. So I'm not going to have a family. I'm not going to have in this scenario, I'm not going to have a relationship that's good or whatever. And then 10 years down the line, and you don't have that job, you don't have the same, the same money, you're not in the 1%, you don't have that same drive anymore because you actually realize you don't give a shit about the job. Now you want a family, and you're like, oh, I could have had this the whole time, but I didn't think about, do I want that or not? It's just the people around me that are kind of like me or in my category weren't doing that. But now I missed out on this time of actually doing what I want to do because I didn't think about it for 2 seconds. Or I didn't think about it. Maybe I thought about it, but you didn't act on it.
Yeah, you didn't become your own person.
Yeah.
You fit the category and you just went along with that. Even though like you could maybe feel things are a little different, a little wrong, or not you, and you're maybe making compromises or sacrifices that you're really like, this isn't what I feel like is who I am or what I should be doing. And it's just the identity thing. It's like you just attach to it because that's what everybody else seems to have done. And now when you get to this point where you don't want to do it anymore or you retire, and it's like, well, I can just be whoever I want or whatever I want. And that's where people just go and they attach to a different identity now. It's like,
yeah, because that's stressful, I think, for people.
Well, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's easier to just like, it's like you're playing a video game. It's like, what character do I want to be? You just pick the character rather than creating your own and doing all your own stuff. It's just easier to do.
I wonder if we change the verbiage with younger kids, because I think of like, when we were growing up, those cliques and groups start to naturally happen anyways. That's just a part of, I think, maybe that dynamic or school. But, we always heard like, be unique, be unique, be unique. It's like, it's not about really being unique. It's just about being an individual.
Yeah.
Like, create your own person. Who are you as an individual? That doesn't need to amount to anything, be in any sort of category, have to look like anything we've seen before, but it doesn't have to be special.
Yeah.
It's like, just be your own person. Come up with your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own actions. But we're, told to like, you got to be different and do it different.
Yeah.
But then we're also clumping up into these groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's hard to be unique. That's hard to do.
Be special. Be one of one. And
yeah.
It's like, it's funny.
How hard that is to be one of one. There's too many people.
Well, and that's like, it's also, it's so difficult because of all the outside influences, but it's also, it's somewhat simple because it's just like, you just have to like learn your brain and how you think and like just do what you want to do and do what you like to do. It's like, I really hate football, but I'm part of this group. It's like, what? No. Like, go paint. That's what you want to do. Like, I think it's the outside influences that get you. Yeah. Especially at that age. You're just trying to fit in. Yeah. It's like, if you can somehow figure out how to, that's what literally everybody's doing though. Everybody's just trying to fit in. It's like, stop trying to fit in. Yeah. Just be yourself. And naturally, you know, whoever's supposed to be around is going to come around. But nobody trusts that. Nobody believes that.
I know.
You know, it's like I always thought growing up that I would have a ton of friends and just like always be hanging out with friends and doing this and doing that. And it's like, I have one friend and it's you. And it's like, I don't want anybody else. Like, I don't want any other friends.
You're just like making it really efficient. It's like, you're going to be my friend and my girlfriend. It's just like, let's just put it all into one person. Honestly, like, if you can do it all, let's just simplify.
Yeah. But it's like, and that was just because I wanted to fit in, or it was like a certain idea of what would be fun and fulfilling and all that kind of stuff. And it's like the older I got and still do, the more I'm like, I don't want to be around people.
Yeah.
Ever. It's like, you're cool and good. Let's just stick with that and go with that. I don't need 400 people,
right,
you know, going to parties all the time.
Well, and I don't know if maybe that's a personality type, because what I'm about to say is going to sound like, if you have a lot of friends, you don't do this. I personally, I like to, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, whether that's, you know, a boyfriend or a friend or family members, like, I want to put a lot of time into them, and I just personally don't have the bandwidth to do that with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's silly, but it's like, okay, the example that I said today of like all the people that I work with, I would be able to order like a drink for them. I would know what they want. Like, out of the 15 people that I work with, it's like, because I want to put a lot of thought and care and like remember things about them and remember, you know, their family members' names and what's going on with them. And I can't do that with so many people. I don't have the brain bandwidth to be able to do that and check in on people and text them and see how they're doing. And, you know, if something's going on in their life, like, be involved in that.
Yeah.
That some people they can do that with a bunch of different people or friends they like to have just a more surface level, like just fun hangout kind of stuff. I'm just not good at that. Yeah, I would rather like more of the small groups, pretty much you, and then just like really dive into those people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's whatever's fulfilling to you.
Yeah. Like
whatever you enjoy and like. And for me, it's like our families is plenty for me. Like, that's good. I don't need, that's something that's like switched for me, where it used to be like, you know, I want to hang out with friends and as many different people and all that kind of stuff. And it's totally changed of like, no, I'll stick with the same, you know, 20 people kind of thing. Yeah.
Especially when you're with them your whole life. It's like, you're going to be 20 different versions of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Also. Like,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's the same, you know, group of people, but you're all going to be 20 different people in the lifetime that I know you. So that's going to be enough to manage and juggle and
everybody's
constantly adapt to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm also so excited to have kids at some point, is just to like expand the team. Like, I feel like we have so much fun together, and we just like, most people would, not most people, I would say some people would think like, oh, that's super unhealthy. Like, your best friends and it's like, it's too many things, too many people to fit into one person. But it just so works with us. That's like, oh, I just want to expand our crew.
Yeah.
Just thinking about like being with our kids, or like I was like going out to eat with them. It's just like our group of people. I just cannot wait for it. It's just like, oh, we're just having so much fun together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the same thing. Just us and just a couple other things running around. That's it. It's like, I don't need the big, I don't know, party scene, whatever. Bunch of friends, bunch of stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm so over it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to be very comfortable with the people around me. So I think that's also it. It's like, I need to take time with people.
Yeah.
So it's like, the more comfortable I can be with you, that's kind of like the sweet spot.
It's just like, I don't know. It just does not interest me. It doesn't interest me. It's like not where I would want to put any more time.
Sure.
Is to like meet new people. That I'm like, why? I got enough people.
I'm open to meeting new people, but I want it to be I can tell now when it's going to be easy and when it's kind of not going to be a good fit and it's going to be hard work. Like Abby,
It's all
I
hard
guess.
work for me.
It's like I just fell into that friendship so easily, and then it's like, oh my gosh, are we best friends? Like it was kind of one of those of like, when did we put all this work in to have like such an awesome relationship?
Yeah.
Because it just like kind of seamlessly happened. We didn't have, I'm not like, I want to be your friend, so I need to remember to ask about her. I need to remember to, text her to ask about this thing. It's just like, it just kind of flowed. And then we're like, when did we get this close? Like it kind of just fell upon us.
Mm-hmm.
I will only do it if it's that. And that is so rare, I think, especially with our types, our personality types. It's hard to do.
Well, I think we're also just like, we don't need it.
Yeah.
So we can just go, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
Yes.
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have something else, or do you want me to move into my thing?
Well, I don't want to hog, but I just thought it was interesting of this.
Should we just hog away?
Yeah. The podcast has been interesting, starting it up again and doing it, because it just makes you think about the words you're saying and the thoughts, knowing that people are going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which also I would like to say, we're already getting like over 40 people watching. Don't know who you are. Like we just said, I don't know 40 people. So
yeah, I know like 20.
I know like the 3 that listen pretty constant, but everybody else, hey, don't know you, but thanks.
Yeah, seriously. But it's interesting of like,
because that's what happened last time too. I was like, who are these people? How is there 100 people that listen to this? I don't know that many people. There's no way that this is someone like close enough to us that's just giving us like a pity watch.
Yeah, I can't think of 100 people.
Okay, sorry.
But it really makes you, because it's being recorded and we're putting it up for people to see, like it really makes you think about what you're saying and the words you're choosing and, how you're thinking and all that kind of stuff. And I think we naturally do that a lot and pretty well, but it makes it even more extreme that it's like, oh, other people will hear us. Mm-hmm. That, yeah, it's making me choose my words wisely and try not to come across as a know-it-all and fake and all that kind of stuff, because I just don't like that when I see it. So I don't know, it's interesting because I'm very hesitant to say things, or not even hesitant, but I take
calculated.
I take a lot of time to think about the exact words I want to say, which probably is annoying because I am talking so slow and taking forever, but I just think it's kind of cool. And it's like, if other people were to do that, because the point of this is, it's shown me how lazy people are when they talk. They'll just say shit, mm-hmm. and it's like it has no weight to it, to where this is making it feels like there's weight to the things I'm saying, because like it's not just a conversation then when we leave and then everybody forgets about what's said. It's like, this is out there and will be out there and people can go back and look at it and listen again. That, I don't know, there's an appreciation for it of like, oh, it's making me be more calculated and try to pick my words wisely and my thoughts and try to make sure they're thought out, or at least being able to admit like, this isn't well thought out, but I'm trying to put things together. And it's also making me notice how other people will just like, they'll just say stuff and it's like, did you think about that fully before you said it? Or is it just whatever came to mind and now you say it, and now like you're not going to back it up, or you don't have, you haven't thought about it at all. It's just you're being lazy and saying shit. And there's an appreciation for this, but then there's also the other side where I'm like, oh shit, I see all these other people just so lazy. It's just so lazy talking.
Yeah, well, and that's for a selfish reason of why I wanted to do this as well, is I want to get better at communication and being efficient and effective with my words and not rambling as much. And also, like we said in the last one, like not just talking about stuff I don't know anything about, or not like I want it to come across as curious and I'm thinking about it. If
Yeah.
it is something that I'm not certain about or have, looked into or personally experienced, that, I don't know, our communication has gotten so awesome over the years that I'm kind of wanting to then like be able to step back and watch it, especially because I'm the one that edits them, like,
Oh yeah.
hearing it talk and hearing our back and forth, and even seeing like, okay, when do I cut you off? When am I thinking like, oh, like, shut up, why are you talking? He's still talking. Why did you think you had a need to fill in that space there? Or like, am I being more calculated, and not from a space of manipulation or I'm trying to make every word make sense and it's the perfect sentence that I'm going to say, but not wasting time with my words.
Yeah.
And being able to reflect back on them, I think, is huge, because now I'm then taking them out of this platform and using it in real life.
And that's where I have a battle, because like I don't want to waste time choosing my words, but at the same time, like I want to make sure I'm saying what I want to say and getting across what I want to say. Like I don't want there to be misinterpretation, or I don't want there to be the laziness of it. And I think that's like, I'm trying to say what I want to say and have a good conversation. And I think I'm noticing with other people that almost like they don't have the same agenda, which is not fair for me to, well, you need to have my agenda. Like, let's have a good conversation, right. Choose your words wisely. But it makes me appreciate the people that do pause and take a second to think about what they're saying and how they want to say it. I really like that, and I enjoy that because it makes me think that they're trying to pick their words how they want to pick them and being intentional with it, rather than just like, I'm just going to say whatever just to fill the time or fill the space because it's silent for 2 seconds. And it's like they're actually almost like it seems like they're more engaged then when you're kind of talking a little bit slower. You're trying to pick your words wisely and do that, to where I think people that just fly through the conversation, it's like, oh, you're not really here. Like you're just talking and just like kind of trying to make points or just like do the rodeo of what a conversation is, rather than having a conversation. And that's what I like about this, is it's like we're getting practice at talking and having a conversation. It's like, oh, you say something, and then I'm listening and trying to think about at the same time, like, where are my thoughts with that and how do I respond to that, rather than you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk. It's like, that's not a conversation. That's just people making points, and then it goes nowhere, and it's just random and sporadic. But I'm trying to get better at the like knowing what I want to say and making it quicker rather than taking so much time. But it's like, I also like the feeling of like, no, I'm really trying to think about how I want you to hear this.
Yeah.
And then you respond, and then we talk, and then I respond, and we keep doing that, rather than just people interrupting each other, talking over each other, and making points, and nothing adds up to anything.
Yeah. Cut to, we both just talked for 15 minutes straight.
I know.
But that's something that we talked about the other day, is that would be so interesting for kids to do, of siblings. Not saying that they would need to post it, because, depending on their age, would that even be appropriate? But just for them to be able to sit down and have a discussion and be able to hear themselves talk. And I think maybe even for families or couples, you don't need to have a podcast to do this, but just to hear a recording of your guys' discussion might allow you to be able to step back from the moment, step back from the emotions, and just logically listen.
Yeah.
Because, how many times are you in a conversation and there's a third person in the room and they're like, you guys are actually saying the same thing.
Yeah,
you're arguing, but if you were to listen to yourself, you're talking about the same thing. You're actually agreeing. You're just saying it in different ways. You're allowing yourself to be the third person within your own conversation.
Yeah.
That communication, I think, is so freaking important to me. And like, especially because we have worked on that for so many years, and teaching little kids, I'm trying to really sharpen my communication skills with them, because I do tend to ramble. I do tend to add way more stuff to what I need to where I'm teaching 2-year-olds, they're gone.
Yeah.
I lost their attention. So being efficient and effective with the communication, I think that could help people a lot.
Yeah.
Allowing yourself to hear yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's helped me a lot. It's like, it's annoying and embarrassing to hear yourself, but then once you can kind of get past that, and then you start to really listen to what you're saying rather than just the sound of your voice, you start to pick up on like, oh, you're full of shit there. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're talking about. And it just immediately makes you go like, oh man, like I got to be better at this. Like, I'm just kind of floating through just saying random bullshit. I need to be more intentional with what I'm saying, because it's like people are listening.
Right.
It's like, I think we kind of forget that, like, people are hearing what you're saying.
And that's always.
Yeah. And it's
always.
Not
just on the podcast.
Yeah. It's always. So it's like, when you hear your own bullshit,
yeah,
you're like, oh man, like if I was not me, and I like, it's your chance to not be you for a second and talk to somebody, or talk to you without, or listen to you without it being in your own freaking head. And you're like, oh, that guy's full of shit. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh no, that guy's me.
Yeah.
It's so humbling.
Well, that kind of goes into one of the other quotes, which is waste no more time waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. I think this is something that has happened to us a lot, and something that we talk about with being humans is act upon things and like be the example that you want to be, and you want to see in other people and see in your future kids and all that kind of stuff. That we do get pointed out a lot, or asked questions, or like our neighbor, she always comments on like how fit we are and whatever. It's like, it's not like we're talking about it with her. It's not like we are, it's like, it's just by the way that we act. Or people at the gym, they ask us what we're doing and why, or, you know, ask us about relationship stuff sometimes. That, again, going back to your communication, is no, it's not like everything you say has the weight of the world. And I think some people also think it does, and it really doesn't. Like, some people, it's okay if you don't have a voice upon everything. That's fine. Yeah. But you are talking to people, and you are having people hear you talk, and you're having your kids hear you talk. That, be conscious, even a further example of being conscious of what you're putting out there, because it could plant a seed in someone, and you want to make sure that it is a seed that you wanted to be planted.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know? Yeah.
I think with that, that quote, it's like, it's, I mean, that's the first thing that jumped out to me is of what you said of like, I think the basis of it is being what you want to be, and not just like talking about what you want to be. Putting those things into action and making those decisions. And it's difficult. Like, it's hard when it's, you know, I don't know, you throw something in the trash at the gas station and you miss, and it's like, oh, do I pick it up or do I just leave it? Nobody will know if I leave it. It's like, those are the little moments and decisions that I think builds your integrity and builds you into the person that you want to be. It's like, I want to be the person that picks it up and puts it in. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be the person that leaves it and then leaves more work for the janitor or the person that cleans that place up. And I think that's a somewhat simple example, but there's more and more difficult examples of like, do you maybe grab a grocery cart from outside rather than inside and bring one in so that the guy has to take one less? Mm-hmm. It's like, you didn't bring it out, so why would I have to take it back in? Why would I grab one out? It's like, I don't know. I think there's something awesome about like philosophy and the people that like write really cool things and sayings and the Instagram accounts of like all the cool quotes and whatever. But it's like, how many of those people are actually doing that stuff and living by that rather than just writing it? It's like, I want to be the person that does the things, not just says them. And it goes back to the having integrity with your word and what you say. So it's like, I want to know that everything I said today is actually what I feel and think and believe. And I can go to bed and sleep soundly knowing that, rather than like, oh, I like was talking a bunch of bullshit to everybody today and not lying, but like not really truthful. And now I got to deal with that. It's like, that's not the type of person that I want to be.
And there's something maybe arrogant about it, but I'm still going to choose to believe it in this way of, to me, I want to believe that I have an impact in a certain way, even if it's something so stupid. Like, yeah, what if I don't really know something about a health thing, but then I'm talking to someone about it and they never talk to me again. They never look it up. They just take that as truth. And now they live their life doing that. What if like, yeah, I actually looked up and drinking a glass of wine every day is actually really healthy for you. Yeah. And like, well, okay, I'm going to do that. And then they just do that every day of their life.
And they sleep like shit. They lived off of that.
Something I just said. Yeah. Or, you know, like you said, the cart example. I remember one time we were in the store and I did this thing and you're like, that is a perfect example of why, like, I like you. You didn't say those words. That's definitely my verbiage, but like, that's a reason that I like you. Cause you're like, why did you do that? It was the coolers that were in the front of the store, like in Walmart. And one of the doors, like it was like a sliding door and it was slid all the way open. And it was so out of our way, but I saw it. And after I saw it, I could not do anything. Yeah. I had to go back and close the door. Yeah. And you're like, why did you do that? And it's like, to me, there's so many things of I saw it, and if I walked away knowing that it was open, now I'm an accomplice. Now I'm a part of it. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, the way that I want to act is I'm envisioning someone's coming in, how excited I would be of, I'm going to get a drink here. That's going to be the highlight of my day. That's going to be so fun. They go to that cooler and it's warm. Yeah. It's not super cold because the freaking door is open. Now that person maybe is a little bit more irritated, and then how are they going to act? Or what are they going to not spread as much awesomeness into the world because their freaking drink was warm? Yeah. And then it's like, and now it's just like, there's wasting energy and like, why is it's open for no reason? All of that is in my head in that moment of just close it. Yeah. It's a simple act. And what if someone saw me do that and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Or that, you know, that's cool. I'm going to maybe do something like that too, or whatever. It's just like, even though it's something so stupid, it could be one day and it could be one little action, and maybe no one would have came and gotten a drink and it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah. But I want to believe that I have a little bit of an effect so that I choose what I say and what I do very wisely. Yeah. Rather than just like, I don't affect anything, so it doesn't really matter.
And I think there is truth to that, because I think it's like the person that left that door open doesn't think that they have an effect. Right. And it's like, now look at the chain of events that happens. And I think I think you need to be humbled about it, of like, I maybe don't have the biggest effect. I'm not that arrogant to think like I can, you know, shape shift and change the world. But yeah, like it's going to affect somebody if I don't close the door or if I don't do whatever thing. And I mean, you could just see it. It's like, look at how many fucking grocery carts are just thrown in the middle of the parking lot. It's like, that pisses me off so much. It's like, you are that lazy that you can't take the cart to the cart corral thing and push it in there.
Mm-hmm. It's just so selfish.
It's the most annoying shit to me in the world, because it's
that's an example of something that's so much larger to that person.
Yeah.
Like, and you probably don't just do it with that.
Right. And it's like that affects a lot of people. It's that thing of like you said with the cooler thing and somebody grabbing a drink. It's the same thing. It's like, I've also been that worker at the grocery store that has to go grab those rogue carts. Mm-hmm. And now you're pissed off because like, now it's just like your day at work kind of sucks because, all of these carts are scattered around in the parking lot because people can't push their thing back. And it's like, so your little action of like, well, it's just one cart. It's like, yeah, but somebody's got to clean up your shit then. And now it affects them and their day sucks and they're pissed. And now they go home and they're pissed at their family or whoever they're with, or maybe they just have a shitty day and now it just continues to go that way. So it's like, you don't have a major effect, but you have a little bit of one. And it's like, you can make things a little bit better for yourself and other people. And I think most people would, I don't know, I think they would feel a little bit better closing the thing, going like, that's cool. Like I did something out of my way today, and it wasn't just so self-serving. Like it was actually for somebody else. And it's like a stupid little thing, like you said, but I don't know. To me, it's like, that's how we get into this situation where everybody's pissed about how society is and all this bullshit. And it's like, because we can't do the little things.
Yeah.
We can't put our fucking cart back. We can't close a cooler door. It's like, so you expect us to be able to do the big things? It's like, you can't even get everybody on the same page with this. So, I don't know. Big ramble, big tangent, but it's like, that's where I'm just like, I'm just so obsessed with just having integrity, because it bothers me so much. And it's that lead by example thing. And I think the other layer and problem to this is nowadays everybody wants, I mean, we're doing a podcast, so the irony is hilarious of it, I know, but everybody wants to have a little clickbaity thing, whatever, that it's like somebody would, I'm going to go do the right thing. And then they pull their phone out and film like, look it, we can't even close the cooler and do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they make this shitty video about it. And they're just doing it to get a bunch of attention and clout and whatever. It's like, just close the cooler and walk on and try not to think about it again, or just leave it to where everybody wants everybody to know, even in the grocery store. It's like, is somebody nearby, do you see this? Do you see this? It's like, just close the thing and move on. It's like, just do the nice thing, be happy that you have the integrity, and move on, and then be done with it. It's like, do shit in silence. Yeah. As I'm talking into a microphone.
Right. Can you mark the time? I'm going to pee.
Yeah. All right, we're back.
And yes, we did take a potty break, so I do have a fresh application of chapstick. So if it looks weird, looks different,
everybody's worried about that.
Well, I feel like in movies we always talk about like
the continuity errors.
Yeah, we're like, oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
So, yes, if you are reeling about it, I do have more chapstick on.
Yeah.
My lips are shinier than they were 2 seconds ago.
This is where I have another push-pull and like the contradiction of just...
Push-pull day?
Yeah, push-pull day. I hate hearing myself talk about stuff like this and like preachy and trying to tell people to have integrity and be better and all that kind of stuff, because I hate hearing myself say that and do that. But it goes back to the opinion and perspective thing, I think. Like, that's my opinion of what the world is and what we should be doing and helping each other and having integrity and that stuff. And it's the things that I'm interested in and try to be and do. So I want it to come across. I want to be better at it coming across of, this is who I am and what I like and I try to be. You don't have to do that and be that, but we might not mesh then. It's like, if you can't put your cart back, we're just not the same person, and should hang out.
Yeah,
you know, like, yeah, that's such a stupid thing, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't like the podcasts, and I don't like hearing the people that are like, you should be this and do that and be this person and blah blah blah. I want to come from the point of view of like, this is what has made me feel happier and like a better person and more fulfilled. And I think it helps other people too. And I think other people, like, because these are the types of podcasts that I get inspired by and I like listening to. I like listening to people like Jocko and Lex Friedman and
Not saying we're that.
and no, but in Ryan Holiday. But it's like, this is what I'm interested in. Like,
people thinking about shit and then talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's really what I'm interested in. And I want to try to be more like those people and strive to be more like those people. And I want to find a way to just put more of that type of good content out rather than the other side of it, that it's just these people preaching and being shitty and like telling people they suck and be better and, you know, the hardcore attitude. It's like, that's not who I am and what I want to be. I try to toe the line back and forth of like, I think people should do this more and be better at it, but I like don't want to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I so badly don't want to come across as annoying and telling people what to do. I want to come across of like just really trying to be a solid person, and hopefully that can rub off. And it's like what the quote was, you know, it's like lead by example. I'm just going to try to lead by example and maybe give a couple words that people can maybe take and run with, but I don't want to be preachy. And I don't want to be the opposite of that. Just talking shit all the time and saying to do all this stuff and then not do anything.
Yeah. Well, and going back to what we brought up a few times already of this is why we're even doing a podcast and that's what we almost like called it, like fly on the wall, is it's really just, these are the things that you and I talk about. These are the things that we think very deeply on and for a long, you know, try to think about it and then experiment with it ourselves in our own life and then be able to discuss it together and adapt and change and figure out ways that it works for us. These are the types of topics and conversations that we have all day long. And we do get, you know, people wanting to talk to us about certain things or talk to us individually or get advice from us. And, you know, our thought was like, well, that could be just interesting if we could just put it all into one thing and like have people listen to it. And yes, we like having one-on-one conversations with people, but there's something about the types of things that people would ask us or want to talk to us about, how there was similarities between both of us and how it's like, oh wow, people don't know, or people are confused about these topics, or they don't really understand why we live the way that we do or how we have the relationship that we do. It's like, we're kind of just trying to give you an insight to maybe answer some questions or think about things differently, or again, just giving like a little fly on the wall view of who we are, why we think these ways, how we, you know, discuss things together. And but not coming from a preachy of you should be like us. Not at all. Just like, this is where we're at. This is how we got to that point. This is where we continue to think about. And you can listen and have your own opinions and thoughts and run with it on your own way.
Well, it's like what I told you yesterday of like what I tell the kids about mobility. So I'm like, this is supposed to be boring. This is supposed to not be fun. Mm-hmm. And I think this somewhat of a parallel with this is it's like, I know I'm annoying. I know I suck and I don't like hearing myself and the things I say, but it's like, I'm aware, people. Like, I'm not an idiot. I know I'm fucking annoying. So
I don't think you're annoying. But that's also probably why I can handle so many hours and hours and hours of talking to you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that's kind of on
everything
that same topic? Otherwise, I might have something that's kind of similar.
No, I think that, I don't know. Just need to get that off my chest, I guess. Like, I know I'm annoying.
Okay.
Don't have to tell me. You can tell me. But I know. I already know.
Okay, so continuing, I guess, with the, like, you know, verbiage, communication, being the lead by example kind of thing. We talked about with these kinds of quotes and with kids of how, you know, like we wonder if it would be helpful to speak to them almost in these phrases and use the same phrases kind of consistently. Because we heard on a podcast this one that we both are, I don't know if we both thought this was a good one or if I just thought it was really good because I know you as a kid, maybe this could have helped you, is temper is weakness.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, if you just told your kid that, even if they didn't maybe grasp it, if they, you know, it's like kids, when they hear a similar phrase over and over, they remember it. That I wonder if just the remembering it and planting it, they will start to question it. Because like one that you talk about all the time is like a body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
It's like,
I just think it's so funny. Like,
how many things your dad probably wanted to teach you, but that had a
ring
to it, and he probably said it like that every single time.
Yeah.
That's something we live by so aggressively that, you know, maybe having your, like, coming up with phrases or something that is so deeply meaningful and can adapt throughout their age, but like that, like temper is weakness. You throwing a fit or you outwardly showing your emotions as parents or as people, we would see that as weak. And we would like our kids to know that of that's not an appropriate way to handle yourself, even if you are upset. How do we do this with strength and integrity and maturity and grace, not weak?
Yeah. Well, and I like those things because there's so much depth to them and they can apply in a lot of different situations. And just like as you grow up and experience more things, you'll maybe think about that thing and come back to it, and you can now take that tool or that phrase and apply it. And it can mean so many different things and bring clarity to so many different things. It's like there's been so many times where, you know, I'm just like not feeling great about the stuff I'm doing that day, or I'm just like feeling lazy or whatever. And, you know, whether I can think of it in that time or in that moment and correct it, or it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, you know, you think about that body in motion stays in motion thing. It's like, I did not do that today. It's like I walked in the morning, or I did my workout, and after my workout, like I started to not move and lost all that movement. And then it's like, you know, you take that body in motion stays in motion. Well, it's like the reverse is true also. It's like a body that's not in motion, like stays put basically. Mm-hmm. You're fucking there for the rest of the time. That it's like, yeah, I didn't keep moving that day, and it turns into me just doing nothing and sitting there. So it's cool to be able to pull from those things, and they just come up at different points in life. And it's like that, you know, temper is weakness. It's like as a kid, that may mean one thing to them, but then as they get older, it might start to mean another thing, or come in a different form. You know, it's like when they're at work and somebody's blowing up, and instead of them reacting and getting pissy too, they can go, oh, like temper is weakness. So they might have like an insecurity about something, mm-hmm. or they may like have had a bad day, or something weird might be going on. It immediately calms you down, and now you can approach it with the way that is going to be more helpful and, you know, a more positive direction, rather than like you having a temper now and you just exploding. Mm-hmm. So I those things are so cool, and it's just the cliche thing. Like there's so many of them that you can pull from and apply. And I think like you're talking about with the kids, it's, you start doing that at a younger age, and those things just stick. Mm-hmm. And it's like those little simple, not even a sentence long things. And, you know, discipline equals freedom.
I was just going to say, like, that is my favorite one.
Yeah. You just keep doing those. I think those things sit in people more, rather than, you know, having this very long conversation with the kid.
Why you can't show your emotions this way, and what emotions are, and why are you feeling sad. And yeah. I love that one. That's one thing I will say all the time is discipline equals freedom, because that is so relevant at any age, at any time, no matter what. Yeah. It's like, yeah, if you have the discipline to put work in as an adult and do things that you need to do and do the hard things, the easier things are going to come easier, and you're also going to give yourself more freedom to be able to live a little bit larger and make riskier decisions. And same thing as a kid, like if you have the discipline to eat healthy and do your activities and go out and do the things that we're asking of you, you're probably gonna be able to play a little bit more and be able to like fully dive into that, because the discipline is within the structure.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if as a family we're creating that structure, the structure is taken care of. Now you just have the time to explore and have fun and, you know, live it up a little bit.
Yeah, more and more opportunities come then too. It's like you have that good discipline and you're doing all the things. You're gonna, whether it's work your way up or just get better at that thing, and then now new opportunities come and you're able to do more and cooler things, and that just, it continues to go and go and go and just gives you more and more freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I want to bring up one more thing or not.
Do it. Bring it up.
Trying to I have 3, but I don't know which one I want.
3?
But I'm not going to do all 3. I'm just thinking, which one do I want to do? Which one do I want to talk about?
Well, we can do all 3.
Should we do rapid fire?
We don't do rapid fire. Just
Okay. I'll just go in order. So I heard this girl talk about, I'll tell the story and then go based off of what it's meaning. So she bought a snake. So
Ugh.
gross, but she bought a snake when it was a baby and had a tank for it. And she was doing the research of like, I've had it for this long. Like it should be this big by now. Like it's, how many months old, like it should be 2 times the size. Like it's not growing. I'm feeding it even more and nothing's happening with it. Nothing, like it's not even shedding its skin. So she took it to the vet and she was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. Like it's this, like, I've had it since this time. So like, I definitely know how old it is. And it's been the same, like little baby size. And the vet was, what size is the tank that you have? And she told him, and he was like, well, that tank is too small for like what you want it to become. Like if you want it to be this big, the tank has to be bigger than what it is at right now. You have to put it in a home or in a thing that's larger than what it is so that it learns that it can grow to that, to where it's only learning it is in this box. So you're only allowing it this amount of freedom, this amount of wiggle room. So it's not going to get bigger because then it's going to be uncomfortable in that space. So as soon as you get a bigger tank, it's going to grow to how big it's supposed to be. And I think the obvious meaning behind that is just allowing yourself more expansion. Like you have to kind of set yourself in a place to expand into the person that you want to be and into the thing that you want to be. That discuss.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, it's like, don't put me in a box type of attitude or type of thought too. Like I think that also the obvious thing to look at is like with kids, but I think as you grow up, you feel like you have less and less of an opportunity in this world or with what you want to do and whatnot. That I think to apply it to yourself is also recommended and positive, because we start to do that. We experience more and more in life, and we feel like our ceiling is lower and lower and lower because things maybe didn't turn out the way that we wanted to. And I think the better mindset to have about it is there's always time, there's always opportunity, and put yourself in those situations or those open, that put yourself in a big box so that you can fulfill it. You have the opportunity to fulfill it. But if you close yourself off to all of it or close your kids off to all of it, they're only going to grow so much. And it just is kind of doing a disservice. And I don't know. I think it's just I think as a little bit older, you don't have the inspiration as much or the dream thoughts as much, that I think to try to reel those back and have those a little bit, I think it's good. Like it's like it gives a little bit of purpose and something to strive for that's a little bit bigger than maybe you thought you could do.
Yes.
And I think that's good. I think it gives purpose. It gives excitement to life, and you can keep them to yourself, and like just you don't have to share and tell everybody and all that. But you can keep it to yourself and like just try to keep your box big and just start grinding and try to reach it and go for it. And with your kids, the same thing. It's like, try to allow them to grow and like experience and be around.
Reach for something a little bit bigger than where they're at the current spot.
Yeah. It's just like, you don't want to close off or hinder anybody. And I don't know. I think that's one of those things like we somewhat like know already a little bit is like, don't do that. But I think to bring it up again and to talk about it again, and it's like just the reminder of like, yeah, it's not late. It's not never gonna happen. It's like, it's still up to you. You just got to analyze the things that maybe you're closing your box a little bit, and you got to look at those things and go, okay, I got to open this up a little bit more, dream a little bit more than what I am maybe. Yeah.
And I think going back to what original beginning of this was, questioning yourself, is questioning what are you doing that's serving you in that, and what are things that are doing you that it's hindering you or keeping you small. What's helpful and feels safe to you, and what is comfortable and it's too comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and I think like to pair with this too, it's you got to be okay with, you got to get better or more just able to handle failure a little bit, because there's also like the, shoot for the moon, and if you miss short, you'll hit the stars type of thing. It's like, I wish there was a less lame way to say that, to have that, but it's like, if you can just have the appreciation of, yeah, I was going for the moon, but it didn't work out, but look at where I'm at anyways. Like, this is still pretty good. That's a lot better of a life than like, I'm just going to try to like touch the top. I'm just trying to get to the top of the tree. It's like that's a short distance, and you're kind of underestimating yourself.
Yeah.
I go on so many rambles and tangents, but it's that like, stop underestimating yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, like, everybody else is. So,
right.
So
you be the one to believe in yourself.
You're the fucking only one you got. So
yeah,
don't underestimate yourself and try to go for it. Go for the bigger things. Go for something a little bit more than what you maybe think you can even do, because it's like, what the hell's the point then?
Yeah. And this one kind of relates with it. I just wrote, having the X to get to the Y, of having the mindset of, well, once I have this, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Or once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I, do this, I'll love how I look. Once I have this, like, I'll like my life because I'll be with this person or whatever. That I think appreciating and diving deeper into making what you have right now as best as it can be, and then setting up steps for later. I think this thought process is just a spiral, because you might not get there because of you're just focusing on I need to get it, and the desperation versus the actual productivity of setting up the steps to get there. And you're putting a lot in that basket of, that's going to make me happy. It's like, again, taking the power outside of yourself versus I can do it right now, and then that's going to be a bonus when I get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say about that.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Love it. Okay. And the last one.
That's something, pause.
Okay.
That's what we talk about all the time, I feel like, is it's always about the anticipation. It's never about the actual thing. Like, the anticipation of going and doing something that you don't want to do is always way worse than actually doing the thing. And same in the other direction. The anticipation of, it's going to be so awesome when I buy my first house and have this, and everything's going to be fixed then. And then you buy that house and it's like, this is kind of the same shit. It's
yeah.
Like, the anticipation is, whether it's in the positive direction or negative direction, is always more than the actual thing. And
Yeah.
that's something that I figured out a lot for myself, is like just temper that anticipation. So it's like, man, I really don't want to go to work today. I really don't want to go do this thing. I'm dreading it. And it's like, this feeling is going to be way worse than when you actually get there and you're doing it.
Sure.
And then same in the other way. It's like, my life is going to be so different when I'm doing this and have this, or I can't wait for this thing. And it's like, okay, calm down. It's not going to be that good. Like,
Well, because
lower your expectation of like the anticipation of this. It's like, it's fun and have that excitement still, but don't like act like it's going to fix your life and solve your whole thing.
and again, where it's about the journey, because it's about what you learn, what you gain, how you change along the way to get that. That's where the value is.
Yeah.
Because if someone just plopped you right into that situation, or the amount of money that you want, or that career that you want, you're still bringing you with you.
Yeah.
Like, you go into any situation. So if you suck now, guess what? You throw $100,000 on top of that, you still suck. You're just have a little bit more money to suck with.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
just because I'm making 50 grand more this year. It's like, okay, are you a better person that much? Are you a better parent to that amount? Are you giving back to the places around you and people around you 50 grand worth? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you're not happier because you're still feeling you every day.
Well, it's like, unless that 50 grand solves a financial issue, it's like, that's all it's doing.
Right.
Like, if you're like, oh, when I get 50 grand, I'm going to be so much happier. It's like, why? Well, I just like be making more money. It's like, okay, but why do you need to make more money? For what? It's like, oh, let's just get more shit. It's like, that's not happiness. Right. Like, that's not going to work out for you.
Until you analyze it, and then you can go, okay, well then, I would be able to enjoy this more because I'd go out to eat more, or I'd go on a vacation more, or
be
whatever.
More intentional.
But again, you are still bringing you to the vacation. You're bringing you to the restaurant. Like, you are with you. So fix yourself. Bring it back in.
That happens every time. Like, we go on a vacation or we go do something. It's like, or we go back home. It's like, the anticipation is so exciting and fun, and you're going.
Yeah.
And then we get wherever we're going, and it's like, oh, I'm still like thinking the same way that I think.
Right.
And it's like, whatever issues are right now, they're still kind of on my mind.
Right.
I'm just in a different location thinking about them. It's like, God damn it, I thought I could get away from it.
Yeah. That's so funny. You're just in a different location with the same thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's funny to me. Did I delete what I had in there? Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it, I guess.
Huh.
I deleted it. But I was thinking of this thought of when I was on the treadmill walking one morning, tradition and evolution is, how much tradition do you need in order to evolve and learn from it, and how much do you need to break away from tradition in order to evolve? Maybe there's nothing to discuss there. Maybe it's just, that's a thought to think about as we, because I don't really know what I think about it. That was something that came to my mind.
Yeah. I love the stories of like families that built something and that continues on. Like, I really like those. And I'm always curious or interested in how to keep those going and running. And I think that's where the evolution part comes in. But I don't know how. Because there's how many shows or movies about this family and everything's falling apart now and they're rich and all this type of shit. And it's like, oh, how does it, and it's just whatever. It's a show or a movie, but that's happens how often in our lifetime of the super wealthy family and legacy family. It's just dwindles away and it falls apart, and now we don't even know of them or who they were or what they are. And it's always interesting to me of how did it fall apart? And for the ones that are still going, how does it continue to go? You know, it's like you look at like Elon Musk type of thing, that type of wealth or whatever, and he's got how many kids and whatever. It's like, is there an emphasis to keep that kind of legacy thing going, or is he just kind of a one-off? It's like he just made a bunch of money and is doing a bunch of shit, and then will just kind of disappear, and we won't really know of his kids and know of any of that. Versus like back in the day, you know, like the Vanderbilt family type of thing, where it's like they have this big legacy and the kids want to do what the family's doing and family business and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, how do you manage to keep those things going? And it's, I don't know, there's got to be some sort of like, you're keeping a tradition with also evolving.
Okay, so I think what I was thinking about when you were talking of that is tying back into the the identity and identity of whatever family it is, and being able to break away from that, and again, like not having it be something outside of you, but more of morals and behaviors. That maybe that's where the evolution can come from, is okay, in this family we really value, you know, integrity and being a good person, and kind of like leaving something good with wherever you go, and the mark being something positive and a positive change. So then you roll with that as a kid and you create your own individual version of that, but the moral and the basis is still the same. But you do that in however way you want. Doesn't mean that you have to be in the same careers that we were. It doesn't mean that you have to, you know, be into the same things or whatever, or like say family. Like we really want, you know, our crew to be our crew and have like family be something that's fun. They don't necessarily need to be all gung-ho about family. It's just whatever their version of being a good parent is. It doesn't have to be exactly the ways that we did it, but it's their individual version of that. Is maybe where it's like it's steeped in tradition of the values, but the evolution is how you roll with that, like how you take that idea and run with it.
Well, and I think that's interesting, like how you're putting together the tradition part, because that to me is like, it's the same thing I was thinking about or talking about too with the identity thing, is like we attach to the wrong things. And I think we do that with tradition too. It's like, even when I was talking about of like Musk or Vanderbilt or whatever, I'm talking about like the business that they built, where it's like, it's not about any of that. It's about what you're talking about, of the values and the morals and good people. It's like, but I think when we go tradition, we think about the very specific, like, we all get together at this time every single year and do this thing. And, or like we
always play this game on this holiday, or we, I'm trying to think of like, I listen to like the Greenfields. Like I feel like they have a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Like
to where it's like, you're kind of putting just like the identity thing, you're putting the traditions into these things that could fall apart or go away, rather than.
But it doesn't mean that the value changes.
Yeah, but that's where the emphasis should be put.
That's what I'm saying.
Is on the values and the morals. Because if it's all about like, well, we have to do this every year because that's just what we've done every year. It's like, well, what happens when like people start to just kind of drift and now you're not doing it? It's like, now your whole concept of tradition is completely shattered and you think everything's falling apart. But it's like, no, the tradition of it should be, we're all really good people and we all have really good values and morals, and we try to. A
good relationship with each other.
Yeah. It's like, those are the more important things anyways. That is like always the thing. It's the unsexy version.
Yeah.
That is the most valuable, but it's the flair and the this and the that everybody wants to have. They all want the, like, we send the family Christmas card every year and it's always us and we're always looking amazing and all this type of shit. And it's like, you all hate each other.
Yeah.
Your whole family hates each other.
Yeah.
And you're sending a fucking Christmas card.
Yeah.
It's like, You picked the wrong thing to put emphasis on.
Well, it's like what we've talked about with kids and like tradition of a very basic tradition of like holidays. It's like we both grew up where Christmas was maybe Christmas was a big thing, or for me, like 4th of July was a big thing. For our kids, that might not be the case. Like Christmas is probably not going to be a big thing in our family, but doesn't mean that the idea of getting together when, you know, things are a little bit less crazy and you're off of sports or school or whatever it is, like we're spending time to do something fun as a family. Like that doesn't necessarily have to be tied around. We always do the Christmas tree and then we drink hot chocolate while we do it and we have to listen to this song while we do it or whatever.
Right.
It's just creating our own new thing with our family. And then I hope they do something like that with something that they care about.
Yeah.
And it be their own version, even if it is the exact same as how we do it, or it's like, yeah, I just like the concept of that.
Yeah.
And it could be something totally different. You go rock climbing with your family. You're like, whatever. Like it could be something so silly, but that is what I think the change is. It's like you're adapting it to your own individual experience.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like I don't know. It's like, I feel like it's every podcast we bring it up somehow, but like, it's like your dad's Christmas. It's like one of the best ones because it's just like he walks.
It's so
up,
individualized to us.
Yeah, it's so our own thing,
yeah.
And it's so not like the traditional glamorous everything, but it's like this is exactly how everybody in this room wants it to be and likes it, and that's what's awesome about it.
Yeah,
and I think like. It's like the tradition of it is us all feeling that way about it and keeping that going. Not the like, well, it has to be this thing or at this place or at this day and time and doing all these specific things, this meal and, you know, like you said, this hot chocolate or it's like, it's not about any of that. You're getting away from the point of like, no, it's about like the values and us being together. Just that alone.
Us getting together
difficult.
And doing an activity and things that we all generally kind of have joy in.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that gets harder and harder to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's like if you're holding on to
the logistics almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're losing the true essence of what the tradition is. It's like the tradition is not those things. The tradition is like, I don't know, for the 400th time, it's the values. It's what the important stuff. Yeah.
That's all my things.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Hard close. Bye.